So here we are in glorious Northumberland, and this is a typical dry stone wall built in the north of England as an integral part of the landscape really. And here we have the entrance wall in the distance, except because of the glorious weather you really can't see it, and this is the Tyne Valley here. I've got the old wellies on because it really is rather inclement today. There's a cow over there in the distance, which is nice to see. Anyhow, this video is all about the CAP, the Common Agricultural Policy, and the key thing about the CAP was it was an important part of the development of the European community, and it was enshrined in the Treaty of Rome in 1957. So the CAP has been with us all along as the European community has developed and indeed integrated to a greater extent as well as expanded. Now, the CAP has caused many problems. What you have to bear in mind, of course, in agriculture, you have market failure because prices tend to be very volatile, such as the price that the farm would get for this beef from this beast up in the corner would fluctuate a great deal because the price elasticity of supply and indeed demand is pretty inelastic. So farm incomes tend to fluctuate a great deal, and to support farmers, governments around the world actually intervene in agricultural markets. Now, in the EU, the key form of intervention for many years has been a guaranteed minimum prices coupled with import tariffs. That is, that the government will provide a minimum price in most agricultural markets, such as that for wheat, and of course will buy up the surplus as buyer of last resort. So if the price, the guaranteed price, is above the minimum price, then the government is going to end up buying up quite a considerable quantity of grain, wine, so we end up with butter mountains, wine lakes and such like. Now this is really wasteful and also very expensive, coupled with the import tariffs. This leads to many problems, and there have been many attempts to reform the CAP. So the key problems with CAP are, number one, productive inefficiency. Basically you have excess production, such as the wine lakes, particularly the higher prices encourage more intensive agriculture, so that farmers produce a greater quantity. Larger farmers of course benefit more because they produce more, so it's not really very equitable in terms of farming. Still, despite the CAP, small sheep farmers are not particularly well off in places like the Lake District, for example. Whereas large grain barons in East Anglia, which really this area is not an example of, benefit hugely from the inflated prices. Secondly, there's a loss of energy efficiency because it doesn't really provide high quality at low prices. Indeed, consumers pay twice for the food. They're paying taxes to fund the price support mechanism, and also paying higher prices in the shops, quite considerably higher according to some estimates, and as well as paying more for imported food. Thirdly, there's the fiscal cost. It leads to a large opportunity cost. All that extra taxation could be provided for something else, such as relieving urban deprivation or better transport systems, which might have a more positive supply side effect on the economy. Fourthly, equity is a concern. Higher food prices have a regressive effect on poorer families and people. Fifthly, environmental concerns. Now, as you can see in the distance, some hedgerows, and these were ripped up to a large extent in an attempt to intensify agriculture. And on this land, fertilisers were placed, pesticides, herbicides. In fact, some reports suggest that olive growers in the south of Europe use 400 times the recommended level of pesticides. And as you can see, these here are buttercups and daisies. Well, these would actually go from many fields because of the over-intensification and use of chemicals in agriculture. And the hedgerows were ripped up, and that destroys a lot of the positive externalities that you can see that we can get from this video, from the beautiful landscape that we have in different parts of Europe. So, and of course, let alone polluting water, streams and rivers with the runoff from fields. And then there's another problem, which is really the global economy. In terms of developing countries, they've been much worse off because they're not able to import because of the high levels of protection, because of the tariffs on imports into the EU, which is a very rich area of the world. And also it stymies WTO negotiations.